Hello, and welcome to the MVC nominee interviews. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about some of the things that you have done?
Yeah, I'm Jordan English, and uh, I've been involved with the theater and speech organizations here at Pulaski. I've been doing theater since I was in like fourth grade, and I've always done it throughout high school. I've tried to be in every class because it's just like my passion. And then when we started a speech team my sophomore year, I knew I needed to get in on that, and so I've been pretty successful in speech. Yeah, I'd say so.
How did you feel when you realized you were an MVC nominee?
Well, I was just sitting there with my friends, and we were just like, I never really like thought I would be, so I was just like talking, and we were just like, it was like a school assembly, so it's like just you're all up there with your friends, and we were all just sitting there, and I didn't expect to sit out, so I'm like, they were like Jordan English, and I'm like pushing past everyone. I'm like, bro, get out, it's me. And then I saw my mom skipping like toward me, and it was just like, it was like a lot of emotions, but it was unexpected for sure.
Can you tell us some interesting things about yourself?
Um, okay, so I have a few stories that I thought about before this interview for a bit. I think they're pretty interesting, so I like sharing them. My first one is I was really young. I was like four almost, and we lived in Missouri. And we were in this like, we were on the second floor of like a complex building. And my parents, I was with a babysitter, so they were probably out on a date. But I was in this room, and we are just playing in my bedroom with me and like, this babysitter and my like Kyle, my brother, and we're just all sitting there. And she goes to get the door. She's like, I think my brother was hungry because he was crying because he was really young. And she goes to the door, and it's like locked, and it's like click click. And I was like, because I was old enough, and I was like, what do we do? I think her name was Anna, but I could be wrong. I had a few babysitters, but she was like, I was like, what do we do, Miss Anna? And she was like, oh, I don't. And she came up with an idea, and she opened the window. She took out the little like thing because she was too afraid to tell my parents. And she was like, don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom. I did tell her, and my mom didn't care. But she jumped out the window off the second floor, rolled into the grass, ran around the building, back through our house, and then opened the door. And I was like, yes, she's Batman. Like it was crazy. And we were just like hyping her up. And then we watched a movie because we were like, she was like, I'm not going back in that room. The door's gonna lock again. But I think that's a fun story. Yeah.
Do you have any other interesting things that have happened in your life?
Um well, I lived in Puerto Rico for 4 years off and on. There was like a power outage, so like we didn't have water for a bit, and that's when we went to go live with my grandma in Florida, and then we come back. But my dad had to stay there for a bit because he went to school there. But um, I the first elementary school I went to in Puerto Rico was just a prison. Like it was a prison before we went in there, or they built the school so that when it shuts down, it can be used as a prison. Swear. Because the houses were set up around, and there was like this huge metal fence with a building here with other metal fences, and that was like the office. But the door was just open, like the breeze was going through, but all of the classrooms were built around a courtyard, like a cement courtyard. There were two trees on either side with like this much dirt, and I was like, how do they live? But that's where we would play at recess, is like a huge courtyard, and then when we needed to go to class, we would line up on the edges of wherever our classroom is on the outside of the wall. And then when I went there in like older grade, I would got to go up the stairs, which was where like like I think it was like third grade you got to go up there. So yeah, that's fun.
What are your plans for after graduation?
I plan to attend BYU in Utah for a year, and then I'm gonna go on my mission, for my church for 2 years, a proselyting mission for 2 years, and that's where I plan to like figure out what I'm doing and talk to a lot of people, because I think I need more. experience and talking to other people's experiences and stuff before I can really choose. But right now, I'm enjoying theater, and I hope I can use some of that creativity and that writing and stuff in the future, but just whatever works out.
What do you want your classmates and teachers to remember about you after you've graduated, and what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
That I made an impact, I think. Um, that people would see me and it was just like a light, almost like it was just like funny and just smiled. Tried to keep a smile. Um, just good because I feel like I've tried to do that for some people and stuff, and so I think if that's all I'm remembered for, I'll be 100% happy with that.